Debza,
How's it?
can you please introduce yourself and what you do?
I'm Tebogo J Mosane. You gotta say the whole thing. I'm a lover. I create. In terms of career and professional work, I'm known for two disciplines: design and music. So in design, I'm a multimedia designer. In a nutshell, like graphic, web, bit of video, bit of audio. Music, I'm a drummer, backing vocalist, but let's just say vocalist for now. I love doing the background music stuff, like the admin part of it, from putting together shows, for booking shows, from managing artists. So I have the privilege of working with 3 right now talented musicians, which I love very much, so so I create and design.
What does the J stand for?
Joseph.
Joseph.
Yeah, I'm Jesus' dad. I hated my name for the longest time, and I realized that I needed to take that power away, that hate, because every time it's like, that's why I put the J between my name, so that people can ask me what the J stands for. So instead of letting people bully you with, oh my God, your slave name is Joseph, then I just took that power away. Samuel L. Jackson has that L. You'll never say Samuel Jackson. You have to say Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know anyone who calls him Samuel. Yeah, so Tebogo J Mosane. So now, but people are failing me because everyone's like, J Mosane, they call me J Mosane. Or some people call Tebogo J, even on my Uber, like I make sure that J is there, and Uber will always pull your first name, not your last name. So I put the J on my first name. So when I get into an Uber, they're like, Tebogo J. I'm like, that's me.
What shaped your decision to get into the performance art space, especially music?
In my opinion, these things connect, right? So my grandmother, whom I grew under, like she raised me with my aunt and my mom a little bit there, is a traditional healer. So Sangoma, was, because she's late now. So she had a university at home, in the house that I was brought up in. We had a young university where we had students coming in and out to learn the art of healing, and part of it comes with the music side, where you play drums, and it's and like at that time, like it wasn't a thing. I wasn't fascinated by drums. There was no, oh my God, listen to the drums, it wasn't like that. What she then did is she took me to church, so my grandmother and I and some of my family members, we go to the Catholic church, there, being friends with other kids, I was fascinated by that whole movement of the youth choir, youth ministry, all of that youth setup. And then there was a djembe drum at church, so the Catholic church is known for playing marimba and djembes, and my friend was playing it, so also, influence. I just got into it, started playing the djembe, and I must say, I got really good at it, and joined this choir called Voices for Joy in Ga-Rankua with an amazing percussionist called Cromwell Mudumwa. Challenged me so hard. For some time we were known as like that duo that you can fuck with, and that led to me, when I finished my high school, I went to TUT. You meet the hippies now, the poetry kids, and they find out that you are in a choir and you play this little djembe, and then the poet's like, bring your djembe, play, and then I'll recite. You do that thing. Then there was a band that was formed called Traveling Black, and then with Traveling Black, I started off being their designer, like for their merch logo, together with my friends Komoto Uwani. we did their whole CI and their rollout for their merchandise, and so funny enough, in that band they had two of each, two guitarists, two vocalists, two poets, and one percussionist. So they wanted to even it out. They're like, come play, just play. You're part of the band already, so play the percussions. And what was nice is that we were getting booked a lot. So we could send half of the band to do another gig, half of the band to do at the same day, same time, you know. And we started playing some corporate gigs because one of the founders worked at the Department of Transport, so we would make shitloads of money. Sorry, can I guess?
Yes, you can. What shaped your decision to get into the music performing arts space, especially music?
I grew up in a home where my grandmother was a healer, and she's also Christian. So having a healer, she would have like students, and we had these celebrations where drums are played quite a lot, you know. So at first I wasn't cognizant of that idea, but she took me to church as well. So at church I met other kids who were into drums. So that link between drums at home, drums at church. But at church, you know, traditional drums with djembe drums at church. So that it all started there.
As a young child who grew up in this home where your grandmother was a gobela, she was a traditional healer, who also was spiritual from like an institutionalized religion thing as a Catholic.
Yeah.
Did you know when you heard the traditional drums, did you hear them with the music ear, or you heard the church drums with the music ear?
So I'll be honest with you. I didn't hear at home the traditional drums with the music ear, and I've never even played them, you know. But I was just there. But when you get to church, it's a different story. Then I heard it with the music ear because they were exploring sound, you know, at that time in my church. So I heard them in that sense, you know, in different time signatures, and all songs are different. Yeah, so that's when I started paying attention from there.
And then as a young child, when you hear the traditional, the Sangoma drums, what do you hear them as? Because it's still music, and most of our music, also South African, it comes from the drums, like the gom and the...
like look at Black Motion. And
yes.
So what do I hear? Honestly, it felt like a call to dance, you know. It's like, it's a calling to react to something, you know. So it's always when something great or big was happening within the ceremony, you know, they were played for a certain purpose, you know. So it was always a call for me, not I knew that when those drums were played, something's about to happen, or something great just happened.
So it's a form of communication.
Yes, yeah. If we can put it that way, yeah.
Okay. Then you get to church. Then what happens?
Then at church, the drums are not leading, where at home are leading. The drums are accompanying. You know, they are not used as a thing as an instrument to communicate a certain thing. They just, the music without the drums, the music would go on and communicate what needs to be communicated. The drums are just there to accompany and make it more pleasing as well, you know. So yeah, it was the second thing, not the first thing, where at home it was, this is it, you start here and then something happens.
Knowing what you know now, like musically, sonically, your ear has been trained. When you play drums, is there still a linkage between the traditional drums, or now it's just purely music?
Definitely, so there is. So I'm actually conflicted at the moment because, you know, you never stop learning, you know, and there's a level that I'm on right now as a drummer, and there's a level that I want to be on as a drummer as well, you know. So what I've realized is that the traditional drummers, like from my grandmas, no one taught them how to do that, you know. It's you see and you do, you know, and you play from your heart and from, you know, your spirit. Like, you just play, you don't overthink. So I've realized that moving from that djembe to acoustic drum kits, now because now I'm being told there's certain ways to play this, I'm no longer going with, you know, my spirit, like let your spirit lead you. Like I'm overthinking it so much, you know. So, but that link is there because I know now that I have to clear my head and play from the heart, you know. And yeah, it's proven to work for me right now.
And with the work that you do, it's dual work in terms of like you do design work, in terms of communication, design work, and you do music work, which is also another form of communication.
Correct.
When you went to TUT to study, why did you choose graphics over music?
Oh, so funny story. First choice was performing arts technology. I wanted that at the arts campus, but I was late. I applied late, and the second thing that I knew that I wanted to do was IT. You know, I didn't know that you could specialize in so many other things. I wanted to do IT because at some point I stayed with my friend and her parents, well, and his parents, sorry, for a year, and him and his brother were really good with computers, and I wasn't, you know, so I wanted it. It was attractive to me. And then I realized that, oh, IT is like engineering. You can choose what field you want to go into. So I chose multimedia instead. So, but I knew in my head that performing arts is what I wanted to do. So this design thing was a second thing for me.
And in between you completing your multimedia degree, you didn't think, oh, maybe let me drop out and actually go focus in music?
No, because I was doing them simultaneously. So while I'm studying, I'm performing still, you know, but not as a professional at that time. I'm some upcoming kid trying to find his way in his place basically in this whole industry.
And then I want to understand how and why you end up working as a musician. What led you to this job, and what were you doing before you committed to your creative talent business?
What led to me choosing this and what I did before that?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So I'm lucky, one of the few people who are blessed with multiple talents. You know, so I can really play really good soccer. Like I'm a professional soccer player, by the way. You know, or used to be. So at that time, especially when I was still in Pretoria, I was just doing the choir thing and playing soccer. But because I was good with soccer, I ended up going up and up. Like I ended up playing in Vodacom League. That's a very competitive level, you know. And simultaneously, when I went to university, my career as a musician started to show some light, you know. It started booming, and I'm like, I was confused because soccer takes 7 days where you have to commit for 7 days. You can't do other things while you're doing soccer. But music allowed me to engage in other activities outside of it, you know, because of how flexible the times are, you know. You're not wrecking your body to pursue these things. So I was a soccer player before then. That was my first thing. Then I had to choose at some point in my life. I think it was 2005 or 2004. I had to choose between soccer and music. And then I chose music. So what led is because I was seeing the growth part of it. And in South Africa, your lifespan as a soccer player is so short.
Did you have any key mentors or people who deeply influenced who you are, what you believe in, and what you committed to in your work and life? Tell me about them.
I'm not sure about mentors, right? Because from the part of world that I'm from, I didn't even know that in life you needed a mentor, you know. But influencers, yes. So in the music part of it, you know, when our choir, Voices for Joy, started at the same time as Soweto Gospel Choir, you know, and their success, it happened in a very short span of time, you know. So I would always look up to, you know, those guys. It's like, oh, you know, because I'm only seeing the choir life as a thing, you know. So, and because I told you I'm a liker of things, I knew that I needed more from life, you know. So I started, you know, when watching Street Journal at that time with Scoop Makatin, you know, Sebonga Ngwekazi, and there was a website called rage.co.za by Black Rage. You know, Street Journal was also owned by the same people. So that content led to me knowing about so many other kids who were a little bit crazier than the rest of us, you know. I would learn about the Spook Matambos of this world, the Kwani experience of this world, you know. And this is from Street Journal, Hype Magazine, YMAC, you know, and listening to what do you call this, YFM as well. So shows like The Bridge on YFM with Lee Kasumba and Bad Boy T with Sansa. My favorite rapper who's from Pretoria called AQ. Like those people really shaped how I saw everything. At that time I was following Reason as well a lot. You know, Reason's career, like it was inspiring to see him from being an underdog to making it into mainstream, you know, Kwani experience, you know, like yeah, those kind of people, Linchapedi, like those were really my my influences, you know.
And then from family, did you come from like an artistic family?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm the black sheep of our family. I'm the one that, oh, you still doing that music thing of yours? The bendy, you know? So everyone is like, and I hate to use this, but that's what it is. Like they live a normal life. You go to school, you get a job, you settle down. That's it. Like you do exactly what everyone else is doing, you know. So yeah. So I have 2-3 cousins who are into theater. One is playing a cello, but we are not a very musical family. No, I don't have stories where my dad is playing me vinyls. Can you repeat that question again?
What are some of the pain points of trying to work at a slower pace within the music industry, given that everything happens so quickly and people like always expecting things now, right now? What's new? What's trendy?
Okay, so I would say this, right? Like fans or the internet is so fickle, you know, where if you're gonna cater for what is expected of you to the masses, that's the demise of your career, you know. So what me and some of my friends have always done, like, and we've always tried to get into the industry making music that we like, you know, and at the time within the pace that we want to do it, you know. So we all come from different parts of this country to Joburg to find that thing that will make everything pop, you know. So when you come here and you start chasing what you see other people doing here, and you forget the core reason why you're here, that's when you lose it. So it's always about the long game and relevancy for us, you know, or for me specifically, because if I'm gonna cater, if it doesn't make sense for me, I don't think it will translate to the masses, you know. So the internet is not our friend, you know, because they want what's hot now, and tomorrow it's a different story. So it's like radio. You remember how radio used to be, where you needed a hit on radio, and that hit will only last a month. They need another one because it feels like it's old. So I'd rather make timeless piece of music, you know, like the album we released with Johnny Cradle. I feel like it will resurface years later from here, and it will make a big impact again.
You mentioned something interesting, that there's always something at the core of what you do. So what would you say is the one problem, be it social, political, cultural, economic, you intend to solve with your work that you can think of right now?
Definitely social and political.
What are some of the social political issues that you see that you feel like you address with your music?
People who look like me and people who are from where I'm from, they are overlooked, you know. We are overlooked, we are underprivileged, you know. service delivery in our part of the world. Like I'm from Ga-Rankua, like nothing much happens in my city, you know, so, and me being here in Joburg and having the privilege to be on some platforms on radio and TV and mentioning my city, where I'm from, and the kind of challenges like writing music about, I feel like we're spreading a bit of awareness about those problems, that because we speak, you can only write, well, we can only write from our own experiences and our own lives, you know, our own truth, you know, so that will always translate in the bigger conversation that the world right now, the biggest thing that's happening is that the world is talking to each other right now, you know. It's no longer just the politicians that are talking, or only the people in power. Like now they are listening, you know. The internet, Twitter, and them, the biggest thing they've done is they gave all of us a voice, you know. So using our music on this platform really help us to get the message to a broader audience, and you know, I feel like people are listening and someone is going through the same thing with us, you know, where we can join forces and find a way forward. What
is the underlying message in your music that ties it all together?
That black people matter. We do, like we matter. Till this day, we always have to prove ourselves, you know, like there's certain questions, there's certain invoices that are not asked of other races or other counterparts, you know, like, but because I'm black, I'm always guilty, you know, and also as a black male in this country, like, it's hard, you know, so, like taking ownership as well right now is a big thing, you know, as a man in this country, so, but the underlying matter is black people matter, and we have something to say, and we want to show our power as well and our greatness.
And what do you mean that as a black man in this country it's hard right now?
It's hard because for the first time, you know, growing up you are told, a man doesn't cry, a man is this, you gotta do this, like they don't, a woman has to be in the kitchen and all of those things, like, you know how patriarchy works. We are taught that. So now the world is showing us how wrong we've been throughout time, you know, like that. Like I said, the conversation is much bigger now. Even women have a much wider voice than they used to have, you know. So being a man, it's hard because now we have to look within and admit our wrongs, you know. And those that are not wrong, or those that are wrong and have friends that are not as wrong as they are, you know, we need to call each other out now, you know, like being a man and being that honest in this country, like amongst, like we lie to each other as guys, like when we are, you know, like having drinks with our friends and all of these things, we convince ourselves of the most stupidest, craziest ideas, you know, so it's hard to look within and accept and say to yourself that, yeah, we really are fucked up, we are wrong, and it takes more than talking to change things yourself, starting with yourself, and the whole, like, you need to change yourself before you can change the world, you know. So it's hard, like, it's hard to be wrong, like, you know how it is, man. So, and yeah.
Knowing what you know now, how would you define a man in 2020? Or what makes a man?
I'll define it, you know, that old saying, a man is a provider. We took it in its literal form, and we thought that you can only provide money and tangible things, you know. So I would define a man as a provider, but you have to provide so many things, you know, and it's a 360 journey where emotional stability can provide a safe zone, you can provide money, you can provide good vibes, you know, you can provide intimacy, you can provide a home, you can provide, you know, your knowledge. Like guys, for the longest time, that's why men are still in certain positions that women are not in. We can share skills. You know, we can provide platforms that allows for other genders to prosper, you know, in those spaces.
As a man, what are you working on yourself in terms of your manhood and your gender expression and your masculinity?
I'm raised by women, so I'm often told that I'm a soft guy, which is somewhat seen as a weakness. And for the longest time, everyone said, "Oh, you're gay. Oh, this boy is gay," you know. And you know, growing up, it bothered me a lot because gay people were seen a certain way in the country. You know, it was seen as a crime to be gay. You know, so I've learned to accept my softness. I've learned to accept that I don't have to be tough to show that I'm a man, you know, like, and like I said on my previous answer, that accepting your reality and yourself helps a little bit to also provide a good environment to the world, you know, like, because you're honest. If you're not true to yourself, like, you're faking the image of God to those who believe, you know. So being true to yourself, actually, people get to get the real you other than what you're supposed to be. So I'm always working on myself, you know, like, and with my relationship now, I'm realizing that I don't know, I'm dating this amazing young lady and she's challenging me, you know, the things that I thought were right, they were not so much right, you know, like, admitting to yourself that you're wrong is not the easiest thing, or to unlearn certain things, you know. So yeah, right now I'm at my learning phase, you know, like, if you never stop learning, you will always grow.
Are there limits to human creativity?
No, absolutely not. Like I said, if you never stop learning, if you tell yourself that you know it all, then that's when you stop learning, you know. So the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know. So human creativity comes when you constantly trying to evolve and research, like, other possibilities about life, you know, or yourself or your surroundings. So definitely no, there are no limits.
What influences your creativity?
People, my girl, my privileges, talents, like the talents that I have. So yeah, my surroundings, like where I stay.
And then when you're working on a piece of music as a drummer, what comes to you first? The beat or the melody or the words that could accompany the melody and the drums?
So right now I'm in a beautiful journey of creating music as a solo musician, you know, for the first time in a long time. So where all this time I was part of a collective. So there would someone would start with the words, with the melody, and then I'll put the drums in, or there will be the guitar, the drums, everything will be laid down, and I would have to put the drums in, or I would have to translate drums that were already made through a computer. So right now, it can either start from two things: the keys, which is the melody, or the drums itself. So if I hear, in my phone I have these voice notes where I'm beatboxing the patterns that I hear in my head, and then I try to translate them on my audio workstation that I use to create music. And yeah, so it's always either drums or bass line, drums or keys.
And what informs your decision to share your work after you've created it?
What informs the decision to share my work after I've created it? So we often look for perfection, right? To say, okay, now it's ready to go out to the public. So I was having a conversation a week ago, actually, with a friend of mine, KB, and he was saying he committed to sharing his music once a month until he releases a full project, right? And he said that decision came about when he saw another friend of his, DJ Skinnies, who moved to the US, who released music constantly, regardless of whether it sounded perfect to him. If he created it and he stopped there, when he has a couple of those songs, he releases them. So what influenced? So that kind of thinking, I realized that we often want to make a piece of music so perfect that like nothing is really perfect, so for me, time, when it's the right time, by right time I would say when I have enough budget to do a rollout, and when it feels right for me, it can feel right without any budget, and I'll release my music anytime. I have 3 songs right now that I've worked on. Am I ready to release them? No. I'm insecure a little bit because it's the first time I'm doing this alone. So, yeah.
Like you just mentioned, the insecurities. As somebody who's worked within the creative space, and more so because you are not institutionalized in terms of your knowledge of with music of training, do you ever have some form of an imposter syndrome that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be here and then they're gonna catch me out, I'm not really that good?
I used to have that when I was studying, especially when we were playing with Traveling Black. I used to have, because you know what musicians do, like when you're playing, those that are professionally trained, that went to school, they just stand there at the back and they fold their arms and they do this. And they're not jamming, so that's intimidating, because they are. So we always grade each other as musicians. Oh, he's a shit drummer. Like, what is that? What is that? Like, that guitarist. So we do that. So for the longest time, I had that complexity, like that problem where, if I see a famous drummer in the room, now I'm like, my God, how am I gonna play? But right now I've realized that some of the great musicians in this country who are trained, they are playing cover music, or they are playing for famous musicians. They're not creating anything new, Most of them, like the most talented guitarists, drummers, keyboardists and stuff, they are playing someone else's music. They don't create. So I'm in the privileged position where me and my friends are creating our own music, and we are on the same stages with the same people. So I'm not scared anymore. Like, especially you can't judge me based on the music that I created. It's my music. Like it's right the way it is.
And somebody who's self-taught, how long did it take you to learn to play the drums? And what informed your knowledge that I am playing the drums the right way, if there is a right way of playing the drums?
So it was a transition from playing a djembe drum to a drum kit. At that time, Traveling Black, the band that I was playing for at that time, said, don't change the beat. Whatever you're playing on the djembe, play it on the drum kit. That was so easy to do that transition, right? It was only when I started interacting with other drummers that I realized that I don't know much about the endless possibilities of what I can do with this thing, So then the stress came of, okay, now I have to learn these things, these basic things to get me to. So that took at least about a good 3-4 years to learn the basics of the right way, if there is, and then you need to learn the rules for you to break them.
And then do you separate Tebogo J Mosane, the being, from the artist and the business, because essentially they all rooted from one person?
I believe I'm the most consistent person. Like I can't right now. So I feel in fact, anyone who knows me, they know me either for music or design. Like they know me for these two, nothing else. Like, in fact, music primarily, So when I'm on stage or I'm off stage, I'm at church or I'm just chilling at home or I'm attending a festival, like those who know, they're like, okay, I don't know how to separate them. If the long short answer, yeah, I can't separate it. Like I feel like that's me at my truest self, always. Like.
And is there some complexity between the intersectionality of you as a designer and you as a musician?
No, I feel like.
So they're all balanced.
Yeah, so I feel like it fits my music. Like me being, it's an advantage for me to be able to design, you know, because a lot of things in music, you need to present it a certain way, you know. There's a tech writer that needs to be done. And now tech writers are no longer white paper with, oh, I need a drum kit, I need 10 mic stands, you need to design it and show it to the sound guy so that it's easy for them to read. You need a logo, there's branding in music as well, you know. You need to do your flyers, you need to do your own website. So I'm at a very privileged, and the artists that I work with, they have access to my skills as well, you know. So it's they marry each other so well. So like I said, I was blessed and lucky to be given so many talents.
And at what point did you realize that, actually going to university and studying multimedia design as opposed to studying music would be beneficial in future?
At first I didn't realize. I only realized this once I was done doing it, you know. Like I didn't, like I won't lie to you that I was like, oh, this was intentional. It wasn't. I realized when there was a need. Now I'm performing and we're going to Grand Sound Arts Fest. We need a flyer, you know, because at some point we were doing music for this play and the director asked me to do the poster. I was like, you know, I'll do it, you know. So once I realized that I have so much more to offer than just being like I'm more than one thing, you know. So it was when I was done with the design, done studying, and now I'm performing as a musician.
Cultural radar, what is moving the needle and hitting the cultural nerve right now?
Sheesh. That's a tough one. So I'm gonna speak on this personally, right? I'm a Tsonga man, you know, and for the longest time, and people don't want to admit this, we've always been on the bottom side of the food chain in terms of tribalism in this country. So seeing black kids all over the country celebrating their cultures, like very being proud of who they are and where they're coming from, it's very inspiring. But more so seeing Tsonga people like and entertainers coming up, you know, Tsonga and Venda people to be specific, winning is really, 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 for me, moving the needle for people like us of the Tsonga tradition and culture to step up, you know, like the Shoma Josies, the Sylvester Chauke, you know, like kids who are from cultures that are looked down upon. That is moving the needle, you know. It's saying to other kids that, you know, in school when they were doing the roll call and they'll say how many Tswana people are in the class, the whole class will stand. You know, how many vendor kids, one vendor, when there are 7 vendors, you know, in the class, Tsonga people, the class will laugh, you know, because we're a joke. So seeing how we all claiming our roots and our cultures, that is moving the needle, you know. Seeing the Esther Mahlangus of this world making a big impact in the world right now, you know, it's moving. The Makosas, the Ladumas, you know, that people who are using their cultural narrative to tell stories of where they come from, that for me is what's moving the needle. Because it's telling all these other kids, Miss Universe, you know, with his bob, with the cat, and, you know, being as vibrant and hardcore and Xhosa as she is on Twitter and everywhere. Beautiful.
How do you define success for yourself?
Yeah. I don't know. How do I define success for myself? Okay, so we all have, we were talking earlier, we were talking about deadlines. And I was like, you said, people have goals. And I'm like, no, they have deadlines, you know. So there's a difference between a goal and a deadline. So there's certain things that I want to do for myself, you know. And there's a certain life that I see for myself and my loved ones, you know. So success is for me reaching those goals, you know. And what happens if I don't reach those goals? Am I successful or unsuccessful? If I'm healthy, I'm happy, and I'm still creating, and I get to travel and still play my music, and that is success, you know. And I always say to people that I'm not waiting to make a first million. I'm not waiting for anything. Right now, you are speaking to the best Tebogo J Mosane there is right now. Like, I'm the best that I can be right now. And if I had to die right now, I feel like I'm living my life fully. I use all 7 days of the week. I don't wait for the weekend to do things. On Monday, Tuesday, I use my time and my weekend to make sure that I live my life as fruitful as possible. So success is for me so when I'm happy and I have food and I'm doing what I love, like that privilege, that is success for me.
What do you know now that you didn't know then? Did you wish somebody told you?
A friend of mine earlier today said, I hope I'm not going to misquote him. He said, relying on money that you didn't plan for is, what did he say? It's stupid. Like, don't cry for money that you didn't plan for, you know, like basically anything that you didn't plan for shouldn't be a fight that you have to fight, you know. So, and I felt that was really cool, because when you're working on a project, or the more successful you are, people keep preaching stuff to you, and now you find yourself negotiating a higher price or a better deal for yourself, where that thing was never on your radar, on your plans. You know, you had a longer plan for yourself, a different plan for yourself. Now this thing is distracting you, and now you have just let it go. That for me is what it's not that I didn't know, but I never thought of it like that, because the more successful we become, we get thrown with this and that, and we fall for all these things, and they shift you from your path.
What is your path?
My path, it's a very important question. I don't know.
It's fine not to know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I feel like what I'm doing right now, it's right. Like, I guess the question will be, what am I doing? You know, like music, design. Like I said, I use all 7 days of the week. I don't wait for Friday to have a drink, or wait for the weekend to see my friends or to do anything. I do Monday. To me, is as important as Saturday or Friday to people. I use all. Yeah, I don't know. That's my path. Like, I'm weird. I'm rebellious. I hate normal things. I hate it. I hate normal shit. Like, so, that's my path, I think.
And where do you think that this hate for normalcy comes from? Is it upbringing?
It comes from, that's how things have always been, you know, where even though I'm a church boy, I have my issues with religion, because certain things are the way they are. But like, why things are the way they are, you know? Tradition as well, you know, you gotta do this or you will die. If you don't do this at church, then you're going to hell. Like, why this thing doesn't make sense to me, you know? So I felt like a lot of things were decided by some old men who were sitting under a tree somewhere many moons ago, and then now we have to do this thing now because that's how it's always been done, you know. And I hate normality because there are other ways. I don't think there's one way to life. There are other ways. I don't have to do what you do. I don't have to live my life how you live your life, you know. So there are other ways and other things. There are other food in life. Like as a black person, I don't have to eat pap all the time. There's other dishes, you know. I don't have to listen to Metro FM only, you know. Like I feel like there's other things. Like we only do what we are told to do. Like if I asked you why do you wear underwear, you don't even know why, because your parents put you in an underwear, you know, like things like that, simple things like that.
What is the lesson that took you the longest to learn?
That I'm not a nice person. So let me rephrase it, you know. So we fool ourselves all the time. We all think that we're good people, you know. And when I say I'm not a nice person, I'm just saying I'm not as nice as I thought I was, you know. So relationship, working with people from different countries and different provinces, failing shows you like, oh, you're not as great as you think you are, you know. So that the longest time growing up, I thought, you know, I don't do this, what they are doing, I don't do this. I thought I was nice, I was better than everyone, you know. So in my late 20s, true, life told me otherwise. It told me that no. So that was the lesson. So I had to, like I said, right now I'm at my learning, like I had to learn so many things and to admit to myself that we can do better.
What has been your biggest failure and what did you learn from it? Do you worry about money?
A lot. Yo, I worry about money. I'm broke and I got debt. Like I have like I'm really broke, like, and I have three jobs right now. You know, my 9 to 5 and the music and the management, you know. So now I'm looking for another job that guarantees a money weekly or monthly, you know, over and above. So I look like I have money, but I don't, like right now. You know, I'm happy though. I'm happy and I'm living my best life, but I need some money right now. Like, yo, it's rough.
Where do you think you got the wisdom to just keep on going when faced with so much adversity?
Like most people, I was once depressed in my life, and I tried to take my life at some point, you know. And I realized that we lie to ourselves when shit hits the fan, when things are hard, and you block people. You don't want people. You switch off your phone and you lock yourself. Hey, the time when I started, like after trying to take my own life, and I stopped myself, I realized that you gotta leave your house every time, you know, because when you leave your house, you realize that life goes on with or without you outside, like, and it's not bad. It's not that bad when you're outside, you know, and you don't really think about your problems. You are more than your problems, you know. So, like seeing other people leaving the house and being out, like whether it's a walk in my area or to see someone else, to hear about other people's problems, you realize that things are hard, but you still got some fight in your sleeves, you know. So I feel like there's still a lot I need to do in my life. There's this feeling like there's a purpose that it's not fulfilled from my side. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm not done, you know. So I'm fighting for this. Like I'm coming out, I'm waking up every day, and I'm taking it easy, one day at a time, 1 hour. If I can survive the next hour, I can survive the next 2 hours, the next 3 hours. So I don't see my life as, oh, I have to make it to the next 10 years. Like, I'm here now. I'm very present now.
Okay, you mentioned depression.
Yeah.
So if you are in this dark space, what do you think you would like to hear that will help you come out of it?
That I matter. And I've realized that it's not even that you want to hear that you matter. I feel like when most of us are in a dark space, we want to hear it from certain people. It's not from, it doesn't matter who it's like. I think it's either maybe we're looking for attention from our parents, from our partners, from a friend or something. But if anyone else says that you matter, other than this one person, that you really need to hear it from, like, depending on what got you into that dark space, it won't make any difference, you know. But for me, it's like I don't even let myself get that far in that dark space. You know, when things are not going well, like things are not great now, but I come out, like, I make sure that I'm active and I'm busy. So I don't want to put that responsibility on another person to make me, to bring me out of that situation. So I've taken it upon myself. It's my life. When it's time for me to die, no one is going to raise their hand. It's like, I'll die on your behalf. So I think it's my responsibility to take charge, you know.
What are some of the little lies you tell yourself?
Let me see. That a lot of people tell me that I'm very beautiful, you know. I know. Sometimes I don't see it because some people, like, they say you are really, really, really. I don't see it sometimes, man. Little lies you tell. I think sometimes I think that I'm better than the other person, you know, in the room. The other little lies is like, you know, when you want to be acknowledged by certain people and when they don't, you're like, they're not even that hot, or they're not even that great at what they do. They dress shit anyway. That I'm gonna be great. It's not a lie though, but it's a thing that
it's an affirmation.
And that I'm great, not even I'm gonna be, you know. That I'm not as broke as I think I am, where I'm really like, oh, if you don't look it, they won't know people, you know. So that is one of the biggest lies I tell, you know. Yeah. That I'm okay sometimes, or I'm not annoyed, or that I'm not tired when friends want to go out, like, yeah.
So you are a beautiful man.
Yeah.
Growing up, what was your relationship with the concept of beauty as, I'm not even going to say as a man.
Yeah.
Growing up, what was your relationship with the concept of beauty? And were you aware that you're beautiful? Were you treated differently because of how you look? And how is that relationship now where you are?
Yeah, so that's a beautiful question. So growing up, like, you know, kids are cute, you know, like, lots and lots of people were telling me, so I had to believe it. Like, I was like, I didn't even, you know, when you're like, okay, cool, now I'm beautiful because they are saying it. Everyone, dude, like, they are saying it, you know. So that comes with a lot of privileges. You are treated differently, especially also when you are a little light-skinned, like I am. You're treated very different, you know, to unlike other kids, you know. If I'm naughty with my other cousin who's dark-skinned, to a Brian and stuff, they would assume that, oh, the soft, beautiful one didn't do it. He did it, where it was me. You know, like simple little things, you know. So I was you get gifts, because oh my God, when they come home, they bring you things because you're beautiful. Like, I don't know, it was weird, but I enjoyed it. I rode it, I rode that bike hard. Right now, there's still some privileges in terms of beauty and the concept of it. So to answer your question on terms of what is my idea of the concept of beauty, it's like, for me, if you are beautiful externally but you're not a nice person, I think we spoke about it earlier, no one wants to deal with an asshole, Jerry. Anywhere you can be as beautiful as, but if you're not a nice person, that's not gonna get you. Beauty alone won't carry you, but humanity has opened more doors than beauty has for me in life, because I'm always a shocker, and I know what I look like. I look like a fuck boy. I look like I sleep around a lot, and when I was a little younger, like, I made sure that I can't look like how I can't behave like how I look. I can't behave how I look. And also, it doesn't help that my dad has so many kids. I'm like, I don't want to be my dad. So that whole thing really stopped me from being who I was supposed to be. So I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna try be a nice person in general, So that has opened more doors than being beautiful will ever do for me.
If money was not an issue, how far do you think you'd be right now in terms of your goal achievements?
I will be so far. Like, I probably had moved. I'll be staying in Berlin right now, exploring the possibilities, because I've seen some stuff there that I want to do. I would have traveled the world sharing my music. Like I said, I'm not a trained musician, but I managed to play some of the greatest festivals and platforms in this country that trained musicians have some trained musicians have never been on, because they are forced, and I hustle hard, my people skills are really good, so I'm able to talk my way into some things, so I think if money wasn't a problem, I would be a made artist, I believe.
Who taught you how the business of music and the money involved works?
Before this person that I'm gonna mention, because I was always the admin person. Think of any band in the world, before they got a manager, or even while they still have a manager, every band has a face. There's a person who's holding the band together. Like, the roots is Questlove and Black Thought, the internet is Sid and Matt. Think of any band in the world. So in most bands that I've played in, I've always been one of those people where things ride on you. Like, for things to happen, you and the other person have to do those things, So you are forced to learn how to put an invoice together, to put contracts together, to set up emails and reply, to check on emails, we learned as we're doing, putting together shows, how to send a booking form, how to read tech writers, that whole behind the scenes business thing, we learned as we're making mistakes. Until I met John Michel. John Michel taught me a lot about how to run the business of music, the small things that people overlook, Saki from Johnny Cradle taught me a lot as well on how to do things, and together we were learning from each other as well, where we were sharing skills and how to do these things. I've also attended a lot of workshops, like Bendustry. They do a lot of workshop. I ask questions. I talk to other people who do what I want to do. Like we're talking the Terry shows, the festival owners, the Gareth Wilsons. So I'm curious. as a person.
What is your daily prayer?
Daily prayer, I first and foremost I ask for forgiveness every day. So I have a prayer routine. It's a very Catholic prayer. It's the novena of the Child of Prague. Long story. It's like the rosary. Catholics pray. We do the rosary, but this is like a novena that I do every morning. I do it without fail every morning, and I ask for forgiveness, firstly for sins that I do with my thoughts, my ways, my mouth, everything that I do and everything that I fail to do. And I ask God to let His will be done in me, because we ask for all of these things, but at the end of the day, and I thank God for good health, good looks, good my talents, my job. I have a home. I love my space. To people, to my friends and other people, my house is so small, and I love it. It's big to me compared to where I come from. I thank God for all of those things. For my job, for my privileges. I'm quite privileged to be where I'm at right now. So I thank God for that, and I ask Him to hold my hand through these potholes and the humps of this life, and I ask Him to help me for people to see His glory through me.
Is love a feeling or a choice?
Love is a choice. It's a choice. Feelings change quite a lot. How I'm feeling right now, in 2 minutes, I feel differently. So I never make choices based on feelings alone, because I feel like feelings are unreliable for long decisions, for long-standing decisions. So love for me is a choice.
When do you know that you are truly loved?
When I'm afforded a chance to love and to serve. I think that's my language as well. You see, I don't know, you see it, and I don't know.
What do you see when it happens?
Time. They give you time, they listen, they engage you. We have different relationships with our parents. Some people's parents are there, they are absolutely invested. Some people's parents are not there, so I've had the privilege of, I got kicked out of my house a while back when I was younger, and I stayed with my friends. I've stayed with Likhonolo Mukwena's family, with Mkopotse Mutsepe's family. I've stayed with Obageng and Ofenze Mohoruti's family. I've stayed with them. So I've seen different types of loves, because families are not different, not the same. So you see how people give their time and give their service, and some of them want something in return, some don't. They are giving wholeheartedly, so, and you decide how, like I say, it's a choice. You decide how you want to give yours and how you want to receive it. And oftentimes the way we give it is how we want to receive it. I've realized,
By what standards do you judge yourself?
By the standards of me. And by the standards of me, I mean, I don't know what Kagiso is going through, or what kind of illness that he has, or why he's as wealthy as he is. So you can never know, so I judge myself by my own standards, or the standards of me that are in my head. Obviously, we all see ourselves as great, I see myself at a certain height than I normally am, so yeah, me, I can't compare. I always say that I don't compete. I'm the judge. I'm the one that gives the marks. I'm the judge. So I can't compete with other people. I can't. I don't know why they're great and how they got to where they got. I know how I got here. And yeah, my standards. Full stop.
I'm most happy when?
I'm most happy when I'm not overthinking, when I'm not worried about money or worried in general, and when I'm genuinely happy and not because of this. I can't pinpoint, or I'm happy because I ate, or because like when I'm at peace. Those moments happen quite frequently throughout the day or throughout the week or month or year, you know, like when I'm like, oh shit, I'm not worried, like I'm happy, like life is okay.
What brings you peace in life?
Knowing that things are gonna be fine, and knowing that I have some sort of influence and power to change my situations when they're not where how I want them to be. Financial freedom. I love nice things. Doc Martens, you know, Saint Laurent, Porsche, Mini Cooper, a Jeep. I promise you, right now I don't have a car, and a car will give me peace right now as well. And it will give other people that I work with peace. If I'm okay, very few people are okay as well. Like more, like other people are okay. So that gives me peace when not just me is like, it's not just me who's okay, but a few others.
I believe in
myself, and I believe in people around me, and I believe that human beings have the ability to change, and I believe in God. I truly do believe in God.
How do you define God for yourself?
A force that is overseeing this earth, a spirit that lives within us, a guardian angel. Yeah.
How has God shown up in your life at one point when you like, in some instance when you like, that was God?
How has God shown up? Yeah. I survived the hood. To most people, the hood is, they glorify it. I don't. You know, I see my friends and peers. I don't want to talk about the suburbs or the town because I'm not from there, but I stay in the town now. But God really showed me a way out, you know. Like I said, in 2002, I lost my mom and my grandmother in like one this week, one next week. So how I made it out of that, being a kid at that time, I was 17, dude. I was 17 years old. I can't make sense of it, that I'm here. And that's when I got my independence. I started being by myself from that age, you know, until now I'm here. I'm a man now. How can I explain that? Can only be God.
What do you wish for yourself?
Success, great health, to stay young. A beautiful family, like-minded friends who will challenge me as well, a true lover, lots of money. Yeah, long life, a long life. I know people say, oh, I want to die today. I don't want to die anytime soon. I'm not scared of death. If it's time for me to go, I'm going to go. But I wish long life, great health, my youth, even when I'm 100 years old, I still want to be very vibrant and youthy. Yeah.